Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Hooptalk Nas, and I got the same gang as usual. Pluto and Tyler in the building. Y'all say hi to the people. That was,
Yo, yo, yo,
What's good
yo.
with y'all
yo,
people?
I thought that was about to be an
yo.
awkward silence, but we are here. Hoop Talk, the podcast is back. As you can tell, half of us, or maybe all of us, have already, or just recently woke up from a nap. All right, so we're gonna try and get into it, man. We got some action to talk about. We got a lot of basketball happening, a lot of great news. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and follow. And let's get into the most popping thing in local basketball right now in our area, GM5. GM5 Week 9 just passed by, man, and we had a series of interesting games, not to mention a very fun event as well. So we want to start off with that. We want to thank everybody that showed up with their kids, everybody who showed up to help and support, all that kind of stuff, man. We saw the vendor lady. I do forget her name. I apologize. Who does the concessions? She brought her kids out. They participated. Shout out to Mello from OTB for bringing his kid out to, just spectate or whatever. A little bit too young to participate in any of the games, but they came out there, got some candy, participated. Our significant others showed up, all that kind of stuff. Pluto's girl's son was out there helping out, hiding all the pumpkins. Slightly confused, but he got it done.
It's really
Shout out
helpful.
to Caden.
Yeah.
Shout out to Caden. He'll get his friends to watch if we shout him out. Shout out
Yeah,
Caden.
shout out Caden.
Yeah, shout out to
He's
everybody,
part
man.
of the
It
crew
was it
now.
was great. It was
Yeah.
phenomenal. It was a great time. So that's all I wanted to say, man. Shout out to everybody who helped out. It was a fun event. Trunk or treat, first one ever went well, and hopefully it goes even better next year. But let's get right into it, man. GM5 Week 9. First game of the day was. This is a common occurrence. I never seem to have it pulled up at the moment we need it. But first
It
game of
was
the day was
Park
Count
Legends
Up
versus Count Up.
Count Up versus Park Legends. Started off as a very interesting game and unfortunately ended not as interesting as I would have preferred. But Count Up was able to take that win 77-57, just narrowly getting that mercy rule in at the end of the game, just barely getting it in. Referees called it with, I think, just a little bit over a minute, or if not, a little under a minute left to go. What do you guys think? We were all there for that game. We were still all in participation there. What do you guys think about that game? What are your takes?
I think you want to go, Tyler?
No, go ahead.
I just think Count Up is doing things that we've always asked them to do before in the past, which is just hit the 3 pointer, to hit the 3 point shot. So their offense could be more diverse other than Jalen Monroe kind of just going to the basket. And they did answer that. There was a lot of 3 point shots from Count Up from the beginning to the end. Um, and it was their type of game, like a gritty, nasty game. Lots of turnovers, lots of fouls. And that's kind of basketball, a very physical team. It is a little bittersweet for Park Legends. They weren't fully loaded. They were missing some pieces and some key contributors there. So, games like this I always hold with a grain of salt because everybody's not
Ooh,
there. But at the same time, it just looked really impressive from like start to end. It just looked really, really good. They looked like they were in sync. Malik plays like a 2K player. I call him. He's like the 2K AI MP, the real MP, because he's shooting half court shots. He's and pulling up with like ease. Like there's no like struggle to the jump shot. It's like a shot that he looks like he takes every day. Um, my other two members will say it's not an effective shot, but it's just crazy that he's able to even do something like that in my eyes. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about
I
the
think
game.
anybody that watches would think it's not an effective shot. But who was Park Legends missing? I don't remember them missing anybody.
Uh, they're missing
They're
Ish.
missing Jay Bird.
Oh,
Or wait,
Ish.
is Jay
No,
Bird
Jay
not on the
Bird's not
squad
on the
anymore?
team anymore, so I wouldn't count him. They were
Yeah.
missing Ish. I did forget about that. Um, I'm not entirely sure. I would say, that contributed that much to the loss. I think maybe they lose by 15 instead of 20. Maybe they lose by
No, I
10.
think he'd be really good to defend Brogy or Malik. I think he'd be a good defensive assignment on them because nobody was doing good defensively on either of them.
I mean, we all
Well, I don't think
assumed
so.
we all assumed he would show up, and we all had count up over Park Legends. Just
Hey,
putting it out there.
hey, You know.
But you had a
Right.
take. Go ahead, give it.
I could tell
Wait,
that.
I had to take.
You
Oh yeah.
sounded.
So I was just going to talk about Count Count just has they do a really good job of speeding up the other team. I don't think that they're as strong defensively as they were last season, but they do a very good job of controlling the tempo still. And I think they play a lot better playing in transition, looking for that open man. Earlier in the game, I was talking about the broadcast, they weren't doing that as much. They weren't looking for these extra passes. They weren't looking to find good shots. And I think that's when Park Legends kind of stayed in the game. Sometime around the third quarter, maybe around halftime, they had a conversation where the game it completely changed from them. You had people actually looking to facilitate for others, looking to get others in the game. And when Countup is doing that, they have a lot of really good shot makers on that team. We talked about they don't necessarily have like a guy, but they have a ton of people that can go out there and they can give you like 15, 20 points. I think that's when they do really well, when everybody's contributing. And I think that's what they did, on Saturday. I think that's why they won. Park Legends, bro, I don't know. I don't know. Man, that team it still has some issues, especially in transition. Keeping up with other teams and even in transition themselves, where they're not getting those buckets that we kind of expect. And it's so weird because you have Dom on that team who I think is still playing pretty well for the most part, and Christian is like lights out. Like I I have nothing negative to say about them. So maybe it's the rest of the team that kind of needs to step up and show up more. But even then, like KJ Kelvin was on fire from three. He was hitting everything. He had a ton of tough layups as well, and it still wasn't enough. They got mercy ruled. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Park Legends are just in a weird spot.
Yeah, I feel like there's slippery slopes because they'll have a good win, then they'll have a bad loss, then they'll let a game slip. Like I feel like they're so weird. It's hard to gauge them at time. I could
Well,
agree
right
with
now
you.
they're on a 3 loss streak, so not just one.
Yeah, which sucks because they look a lot better than what they are. You got the MVP. You have like I just feel like I said I think the offense needs to change, and I think TP has to just let that thing rip and just kind of live and die with the basketball that they like Dominic plays the best with. And I think Christian can also really, 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 really benefit from an offense like that where it's running gun. I think Nas touches it a lot. He does not mind letting it go. And I've still not seen Christian put it on someone's head either. So it's just I feel like when I'm trying to see these different folds, I feel like Christian would really benefit in like a very fast paced offense because he's built for it. Like he thrives in it, man. When he gets in the game, you can hear TP just saying speed it up," and like you just let him go, and he just starts scoring, bro. It's scary.
Yeah, bro. You give him the ball, it's if he gets on fire early, it's over because he doesn't really cool down.
I think that's going to be the shift of the team. I think they need to figure out that he's the number one option. I think he's the
I don't
tempo
think so
better.
though. I
No, I don't
don't. I
Huh?
think
don't think
so
he should be
either.
the number one option either, though.
I don't think so
I
either.
think
I
they
think.
should. Say it again.
Oh, I don't think he should be the number one option, and that's not even a knock on Christian. But I think Dom is still very lethal, in that setting, and I think kind of playing through him with Christian off the ball, I think that's where they see the most success.
Yeah,
Oh no.
I don't think he's the number one option either. I think Dom is still a spectacular player and seems to just be having a slower season than he's had in the past. But I mean, I don't really know what it is about Park Legends that, like you guys said, they look good on paper and they are supposed to be good. I mean, what are they necessarily missing per se? You know what I mean? I think it could look better going forward. I think adding Darius, if he can return to form, I know he had injuries recently. I'm not entirely sure how big his injuries were, or how long they lasted. So that's obviously a factor. That's something that we're gonna have to learn and figure out. But if he returns to form and the defensive impact that he was for Count Up last season, if he can be that, I think he puts him in a really comfortable position because him playing the form position would be great for them. He has the height and the length for it. He last year he showed the rebounding, he showed the shot blocking, he showed the defense. So he's gonna be an interesting piece for them, and I think playing him at the four is good. I joke about Ish, but he is a very impactful player on the defensive end at the very least. He does have to contribute more on offense, and he has to be way more consistent on offense. But on paper, they got everything you would want a team to have. You know what I mean? Like they got a lights out shooter in Christian, and Dom is gonna knock down his shots. They have a go to scorer in Dom, he's having a bad season, or not. Let me take that back. He's not having a bad season. He's having a slower season than what we are used to from Dom. But I don't know if it's the drama. I think that would be my first thing to look at. Like, is there too much happening behind the scenes that is not letting them lock in? That's my real question. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Like the drama that the Miami Heat went through didn't stop them from competing for a playoff spot. You know what I mean? And they went out there and they did what they needed to do. So it's you gotta set that aside. You know, they've had the issues with Nick Wallery. That's still pending. We don't know where that's gonna go. They had the issues with Jay Bird because he wasn't able to make it to games. Now they lost that piece who they thought was gonna be a big piece for them. It's a lot of factors, and I don't know what it is about Park Legends, but they are just not convincing. They weren't
What's their
convincing last year.
schedule for the rest of the year?
I got you.
Not good.
Oh,
I think we talked
it
about it
goes
last week.
Prey, NWO. No, it's actually pretty good. It's Prey, NWO, Dream Chasers, and then Lions to close it
Those
out.
last 3 games are going to be important. Well, the
They're
NWO
not
one.
winning against NWO. I'm gonna quote me on this.
Yeah,
Anybody
we're good.
record this?
I
I
think
don't
we're
mind.
all, unless something crazy
They're not gonna
happens.
be NWO.
Yeah, unless
They're
something
not.
crazy happens. But the other 3 those are close games. Those are games that people have to lock into. Those are
Yeah,
losable games. The
especially
Lions
against
aren't the
Lions
same.
now. Dream
Yeah,
Chasers look better.
yeah, the Lions are not the same. That's scary. That's scary.
With
That could really change your season up.
with how they've been playing, they can finish this trip 2-2, in my opinion. They can finish this trip 2-2 because I think NWO is an easy loss, and I hate this. They're not gonna like it, but that's just my take, and I think it would be
That's just
anybody's
what it
take
is.
that's watching GM5 this
Yeah.
year.
They're 8-0,
Um,
bro. They haven't lost. We
yeah,
can't keep betting against them.
and then
Yeah, and they're
Prey,
beating like good teams too.
I think that's a possible loss, but not a guaranteed loss. I think they win that game, and when that game comes, which is it's actually the upcoming game. So when we get to that at the end of the podcast, I'll talk about it. But I'm gonna have Park Legends for that. But Prey can win that. Prey can win that, and I
They
wouldn't
already
be
have.
shocked. Yeah, I
They
wouldn't be
did earlier in
shocked.
the season.
Yeah, it was a close
Yeah,
game though. I think they only won that by 1 point. But and I
and
wouldn't be
praise.
shocked if the Lions win that game either. I wouldn't be super shocked.
So real quick, praise better, but Park Legends is not better. So like, I gotta go with Prey on that.
What do you mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that
I don't know
mean?
what that means.
Like Prey got better since the last time they played. Park Legends has gotten worse. We could argue. That's what I'm trying to say.
I
Does
think
that
Park
make more
Legends is the same
Yeah,
as
I
they've
think
been
Park
the
Legends is the
entire
same.
season.
I don't think Prey has
Yeah, I don't
shown
know.
us that they are better though. That's the thing. I don't think they've
That
actually
is
shown
true.
us.
That is true, Nas.
So on
Correct.
paper, yeah, you could say adding Jaylani made them better, but I mean, what does it matter what you write on a piece of paper if the story you're telling is false? I don't, you know what I mean? So,
Those are bars. Look at that. Philosophinas.
but
Philosophy 101.
that's just me. I'm just saying it's really similar to how I felt about Park Legends last year, where I felt like you have the ability, especially Nick Wallery was a different player last year, so Nick Wallery was a very big threat to have on your team last year and one of the best players in the league. So it's the same thing I felt about them last year. They're just not convincing. That's all it is. They're just not convincing, and to this day, they still haven't convinced me. And they should. They have the makings of a team to compete with NWO, to compete with OTB. All they've done is just disappointed us. That's all it comes down to. That's my opinion. But we can move on to the next game. City Ballers versus Dream Chasers. I'm not gonna lie, closer than I would have thought it would be. Now it finished up as an 11-point win for City Ballers, 76-65. Dream Chasers unable to get their first win of the season just yet, but kind of tight throughout the game, pretty close. And I'll start by saying I don't know if that's a good look for City Ballers. I'm sorry. This is gonna come across as negative in two different ways. The Dream Chasers, the Dream Chasers is gonna take it one way. City Ballers is gonna take it another way, and I encourage you to do so because that's exactly how I mean it. I think it's a bad look for City Ballers to for that game to not be easier to win, and I apologize, Dream Chasers. It's the same thing as as Prey. I'm sorry, as Prey. You just haven't shown us that you are a competitive team. There's games you've been close, and I commend you for that. But you look like a team that is easy to beat and an easy dub for people's schedule, and that sucks to say out loud. I can hear it. You know what I mean? I get it, but it's just a fact, and the fact that City Ballers didn't pull away until the end, I think is not the best look for them. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think I think Dream Chasers looks better. I think that Jordan Hernandez, addition is looking really good. But I would agree with you. I still don't think that this version of Dream Chasers is necessarily great. I think that they need to kind of figure out who the ball is going to go through a lot more often. They need to figure out their lineups and their changes because, for example, City Ballers towards the end of the game put in Kevin and Nick in like two bigs, and they Dream Chasers took out Dane, so they had no real size out there, which I that made no sense to me. So City Ballers, I would
Real quick,
I,
Tyler,
uh,
because I want to harp on that with you. They also subbed Hernandez out at the end of the game too, when he should have never came out the game. I thought that was a really bad substitution as well. That's all I'm going to say as well.
I think sometimes because they don't have a coach, so they're kind of doing it together. I think sometimes you got to bite your tongue, bro. Like I know everyone's here, everyone is paying money to play, but winning is kind of cool. Like I enjoy winning. I, I'm not saying you have to sacrifice all your minutes, but like it's at the end of the game. Jordan Hernandez, we don't have the stats up, but I would be willing to bet that he was having a pretty good game.
Decent game.
Maybe he's sticking, and I think Dane was doing as well as you could. I've been saying it all the time. Dane should not be their center. They should have somebody with size that can actually be their center. They don't, so Dane is filling that role, and he was doing pretty well.
He was.
He was doing pretty good in that role, and then you guys took him out, and everything kind of collapsed. Like
Yeah.
you never came close to getting the lead. But
Yeah.
City Ballers also, I do expect more. You are right, especially that was a game where, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they had everyone there besides Spark, right?
Yep.
I don't think that they were missing anybody else.
That was their
They
squad.
fully rostered. Like, man, I have a lot of high expectations for City Ballers, and
Oh,
this
Marquise.
might be the last.
Marquise was
Mar-
gone.
Okay, Marquitas, I apologize, but this might be the last win that they have for the rest of the season. They go against Vipers, they go against Count Up, NWO, and then OTB. Like, this is not the game where I really wanted to like finish off the City Ballers story.
That's the team.
So
I was
you're gonna have to show
remembering.
us.
That's the schedule I was remembering. That's what it was that we talked about last week. Yeah, that's
That's
tough.
the Walker. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Oh my
They got a
God.
bye week coming up, but like I expect a lot more when you guys come back. I absolutely expect a lot more.
Yo, my take is it's the same City Ballers team emotionally. There's no growth there. And when there's no growth mentally, it's hard for it to show physically. Like, Phil's still worried about fouls. Like, and Phil, this is all love, but this is me, like, talking as someone who sees it from the outside in. Like, you worrying about fouls when you're up 10 points and they're not calling things on you is like any of your favorite players would say, like, bro, just play through it. Like, eventually the whistle's going to blow. Like, eventually you're going to get something. But refs really hate when you're trying to do their job. That's the number one thing to agitate a ref. So I know how quick it is to get a tech because the first thing I'm going to do is go for his job. That's any man's pride. I think this is a game of pride. This is a game of being able to set yourself, your pride to the side, or being able to stand on it. And like I literally die on Hills a lot, bro. But you wanting to change the officiating of this game and the style of it is not going to happen. No matter how much you look at us, you look at anybody and say they're not calling a foul, they're not going to call a foul. It's the same with everybody else on that team, though. They're an emotionally driven team, and I feel like when they're not being emotional, they're really, really good, and they show really good, you know, uh, improvements. Like I think Kevin should have the ball on offense regulating the offense. I don't think that's something we should question, and maybe throw Will in there because Will has really great cross court passes. I think Phil should just be slasher and really focus and hone in maybe on being the best defender on this team. I think Phil should just worry about that. You have Berto now. Berto can be your best scorer. You don't have to worry about. You can go down to 5 to 6 shots a game and just get us 2 steals and 3 blocks. Like, just hone in on the things your team needs. Trap is already giving up the starting position and coming off the bench, and I think he did a pretty excellent job off the bench with moving the ball. Trap didn't take bad shots. Like, he was very very swingman mentality. But yeah, like, count up. I'm being hard on you because it's true. Like, you guys are saying is true. It's just not. You have these great pieces, and you're not giving us like these stellar performances. And now with Tyler mentioning your matchups, you have the ring of fire, bro. If you come out of this 2-2, we give you so much respect. But if you go 0-4, we can't look at you different. But 2-2, 500, I will give you so much respect for that.
One thing I'll say though, I don't want Phil's role to change offensively. This was a fantastic game from Phil offensively.
For sure.
He lost his way, and Will try to get it back, and it didn't necessarily work. But offensively, I don't want anything to change there. I want Will to be set, or I'm sorry, I want Phil. I keep saying Will this whole time. I want Phil to be set up. I want Phil to look for a shot every once in a while. The thing I want from Phil more is to also look to pass a little bit more on your drives. Once you recognize that, the other 16 times you drove to the rim and you didn't get the foul call you wanted, don't do that again. Like, create the double and then pass out. Draw attention to you and then look for an open man because you almost always have somebody open on the perimeter.
Always.
Almost always. And if not, you usually have Kev right around the dunker spot. Like, look for that. That's what I think. But like him handling the ball, no, like that shit was good this game. That shit was really good this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think a perspective that I could offer to help in Phil's mindset when it comes to that is the defense is always going to do whatever the referees allow them to do. So if the referees are allowing them to be physical, they will continue to be physical. That is the level of comfort that they are going to establish now. If I bump him, if I go up with him, if I do this, if I do that, this is the type of game the referees are calling. I'm going to continue to do this until they stop me from doing it. So you have to take advantage of that and be like, okay, this is how they're going to play me, so this is how I'm going to counter that. But I think not specifically tailored towards Phil, but I think a lot of players in this league struggle from doing that. It's countering what's happening in the game. You know what I mean? And I think, oh man, almost had a sneeze come in there, but it never came. But I think
good job.
I think the issue there is you can't, like Tyler said, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, understand, like, when I drive, if these people are going to be physical, these people are going to do this and that, let me get others involved. And it could really change how the game goes for you guys. City Balls is another team that looks great on paper. You know what I mean? Like, from top to bottom,
amazing.
They've assembled a phenomenal roster. They have an all-around impact in Kevin Rulock. You know what I mean? He's going to get you double-digit points. He's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get you assists. Right? He's going to be a floor general. They got a point guard that can shoot the mid-range, shoot the three. He can pass. He's going to play defense. They have Mike Millsap. He's an Ace League player, so he plays at a high level. You have Nick Choi, phenomenal player. They just added Berto back to this roster again, who's one of the best scorers the team has to offer. So, like, on paper, everything looks good, but it's City Ballers has to get together and just say, cut the bullshit, let's play basketball. Let's just play basketball. Can we move the ball a little more? Can we make that extra pass? Can we look for each other? Can we stop just trying to prove a point to the referees? Can we stop just trying to prove a point to the world? How about you just prove a point to yourselves? And when you play good basketball, good things happen. It's as simple as that. I don't know if City Ballers has a voice that can get them to do that. You know what I mean? Kevin Rulock is new. Who knows how easy it is to listen to him because he's newer. They don't know him. They haven't played with him before. Maybe they know him. Maybe they see him here and there. But like, it's tough for them. And I think that's the biggest thing for them. They just have to get together and be a unit. Because it just feels like 5 guys who randomly got picked up at the park and are hooping to try and stay on the court. That's what it feels like sometimes.
I agree with you on that.
But
Pick it up. Just work as a unit. Play better together.
that's it for.
I do want to say
Okay.
one thing before we go. Phil, Kevin, because you guys are avid talkers with us, please don't take this as like a slight and take it as like just unbiased opinion who wants to see you do better, because that's all it's coming from. I don't
So
want to be
beautiful.
Maybe they should, to be
So
honest with
beautiful.
you. Shit. Maybe they should. Because at the end of the day, a win did not look good, and that should not be the case. A win should always look good. That's my take on it. So don't take Pluto's words as a slight. Take my words as a slight, and go out there and do better. 'Cause I don't give a damn how anybody feels about my take. Shit. Uh, third game of the day was on the bench versus Prey. Had the makings of a good game when everything was beginning. Turned out to be not so much. OTB was able to take that home 102 to 88. Actually, a lot of games this week that started off strong and ended up weak. Aside from the last game, that was a strong game from beginning to end, but we'll get to that in a second. I don't know if I said the score, but I'll say it again. On the bench, 102, Prey 88. What do you guys think about that game? I was not there for the majority. I did watch it, so I'll input wherever I can, but I was there. I missed half of that. So what do you guys think about that game?
I think that was kind of a game, where Mello and Keith kind of had a ball, and they were setting up anything they wanted to. But I like Lou out on the perimeter, kind of challenging Keith. I think that was a great answer to Keith, to kind of take him out of the paint, like we had always talked about, stretch him out there. And I do think that Lou had, one of his best games of the season. I don't know how many threes he had. We don't have the stats for that, so I'm going to base it off of the eye test purely. But I think that it started off really well. Everything was going fantastic, and then that fourth quarter kind of came around, and things just kind of got out of hand. Everyone just started having fun playing basketball again. And when OTB is smiling, when they're laughing, when they're joking, like they go up to like a second level. They're like Super Saiyan at that point. I don't know what it is. Um, and again, I talked about this last week. I'm gonna talk about it this week. I need I need Jaylani to just take some different shots every once in a while. Jaylani is a great creator. He can create his own shot. He can create for others very, very well. We've seen that. But the shots that he's creating for himself are not necessarily shots you really want to look for. I think that's the shots that the defense is kind of giving to you. So you're kind of falling into their trap. And I know that you could hit those. I've seen you in multiple leagues, but it's not working so far in this league. So I think that needs to change. That's really what I would say. Prey realistically dealt with what they dealt with all season. They could not shoot for the entire night. It was one of their down shooting nights, and it bit them, as always.
Difficult shots make the game difficult. I don't understand why basketball players don't understand that. I've never gotten it. My theory has always been they are very easily persuaded by the bright lights in the moment, right? When they hit that step back three and everybody's like ooh and ah, that's what they remember for the rest of their life. So they want to get that ooh and ah moment back again. So they just continue to go with the step backs and the side steps and the fadeaways and the contested threes. Difficult shots just make games difficult. You know what I mean? And you can ask Cam Thomas, you can ask LaMelo Ball. You know what I mean? Difficult shots make it hard to win games, and that is a fact. I don't get it personally, but that's who I've always seen Jaylani to be, and he makes them. He makes a lot of those, but that doesn't always translate to a good thing. And I wish players could see that. I wish.
Uh, I mean, as a person who likes difficult shots, um, I will say that players like that are very rare. Just like in this league, people who can make those tough shots. If you're kind of designed like that mentally, where it's easier for you to make the contested shot, I mean, not that it's statistically easier, but mentally, maybe the confidence goes up in your jump shot. Maybe the will of wanting the shot to go in. If he's that kind of guy, I can't tell him to operate differently. Maybe operate like that differently in different quarters. Like, maybe if you're hunting for your shot that way, do it in in quarters. Like Steph Curry is the king of the third quarter 3-point shot. Go ahead.
If statistically it does not look good and mentally it feels good, you need to go to therapy. That's what that is. Go ahead.
Because
I mean, Kobe was
your end
a
of career
psycho.
Lou Will.
Michael Jordan is a psycho. LeBron James that
Statistically,
time.
every shot he had looked good. He shot 50%. Half the time he made it, half the time he didn't. That's pretty good.
Yeah. But regardless, I'm talking about the statistic of having a hand in your face shooting versus shooting wide open. Mostly like obviously it's an easier shot, but some people are sick like that. Some people are wired like that.
But
Like
Michael
Kobe was
Jordan
like
was
that.
an efficient player, so that's not the same
Definitely,
case.
but
Kobe Bryant had Shaquille O'Neal, so
yeah.
if you give
I mean,
Jaylani, listen, you
Kobe
put
Bryant's one of the most difficult shot makers in
yeah,
NBA history.
and when you have Shaquille O'Neal cleaning up every board every single time you miss a shot, everything looks better now. I can take whatever shot I want. We're just gonna
That's
get
a
the ball back
pass at that
anyway.
point.
Yeah, you
Not
put
saying
listen.
that it's good.
Give
I'm
Jaylani
just
Keith.
saying.
Give Jaylani
Go
Keith,
ahead.
and maybe his shots won't look so bad because he's just gonna get the board anyway.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I wouldn't want to rewire someone with that mentality because, yeah,
I
one game
would.
he can go for 10 points, but the next game he can go for 40. And yeah, the inconsistency sucks, but it's kind of like the jack in the box of it all. You don't know what you're gonna get with him, but
Is he
you know
gonna
you're gonna
win?
get your 5.
Is he
You're gonna
gonna
get
is
your.
he gonna win the game that he went for 40? That's always the question.
It's hard for him because
That's what I
I'm not
encourage the
vouching
youth.
for him. Go ahead.
That's what I'm trying to encourage the youth to understand. Are you winning the games
Yeah.
when you go for 40? Are you? Kobe Bryant's best scoring season of his career, he could barely scratch the surface of a. I don't even think they did go to the playoffs that year.
He
And if
didn't go
they
to the
did,
playoffs. He wanted to trade.
they were a bottom seed if they did. You know what I mean? The best scoring year of his career. And that is the case for most players. The best.
I think of Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's the case for most players. This generation is switching up, but guess what this generation does that's different than what we're seeing these players do is when they do this volume scoring, they contribute in so many other areas, right? Nikola
Sure.
Jokic has had one of his highest scoring seasons recently, but he was playing at an MVP caliber because he's also having one of his highest assist seasons, one of his highest rebounding seasons. You know, Shea, who I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he led the league in scoring, did he not?
Yeah.
33 points.
Shea led the league in scoring, but what does he do to compensate for the fact that he's taking all these volume shots? He's having the best defensive year of his career. So yeah, I'm gonna take a lot of shots on offense, and I'm gonna go to the free throw line a lot because that's what I like to fucking do. But in order for coaches to be happy with me, I'm gonna go lock up on defense. I'm gonna make sure we get that ball back every time I miss a shot. And that's what I'm trying. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't want this podcast to turn into a podcast that convinces the youth to keep playing bad basketball, bro. Because I hate it. Go out there and lock in. You want to take all those shots, lock in other areas and contribute at a high level in other areas, or else you're just making the game more difficult. And that's what I'm trying to say about Jaylani. You're just making the game more difficult for your team. You don't see it that way, and I feel that, and I respect it. If you don't want to believe me, if you think I'm talking out my ass, take it however you want to take it. But I go based off facts. I go based off the stats. I go based off the results, and the results are games aren't being won, and that's not just you specifically. It's just players all around. You know what I mean? And I use the Cam Thomas example. I use the LaMelo Ball example. There's other reasons they don't win. Don't get me wrong, because obviously those teams aren't necessarily designed to win right now. But you can't convince me that even if you design that team to win, they're gonna be spectacular with the fucking shots those two take. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can't convince me. So that's all I'm trying to say, man. Go ahead, finish your take.
I mean, all I'm saying is that players like that are still kind of big for teams. Every team has a difficult shot maker. I don't think that's like every player being that kind of. Every team needs a player like that.
That
Like the
does
Pacers
more.
had Ben Mathurin last year. Jamal Crawford, Lou Will, players like that made careers off being difficult shot makers, and I just feel like at the end of the day, I'm not saying maybe he does. I will agree he does need to take better shots, but also the degree of how tough those shots are off the dribble could create maybe a counter move for him where he can fake that shot into a a little bypass crossover down to the hole. I mean, as a scorer, everything you do it for a reason. So there's always a counter to every move you make. So even Shea has one. It's his pump fake coming out of his mid range when he can't get it off. He pump fakes and then it's a free throw shot. So maybe it is a counter to something else we haven't witnessed yet. And I'm not going to say he's a bad offensive player, but I do think the chucking part is kind of bad when you're not making it and it's being consistently you're not making it because at that point it just looks like what they are saying, the statistics. But as a scorer, I get it though. I get what you're trying to do, but it's just maybe just go about it differently, just a little bit more efficiently. That's all I'm gonna say there.
I guess I'll go next. Yeah, I mean, talking from a on the bench perspective, I definitely wanted to give a shout out to Josh Fillmore because I feel like he hasn't been talked about enough. That man, that went supernova. I think he hit 3 threes in the first quarter. I think he probably finished the game with like 6 or 7 threes. For a second there, I thought Luke Doyle was cosplaying. You know what I mean? I thought he came in his Halloween costume, put on his Josh Fillmore suit, and showed it to the game because that man was lining them up. Josh Fillmore continues to be such a phenomenal choice for OTB. And I didn't even know he was drafted. I thought he was part of their six set. I also didn't even know he was drafted by another team, which we learned not too long ago. So not only was he drafted into OTB, he was drafted by a different team and requested out to end up in OTB. So like it was a blessing in disguise for OTB. I think that's one of the best. I guess I actually don't know who got drafted, so I'm gonna find that out first. But he might. No, I'm saying no, I mean like what players were drafted onto a team because there's players who I thought were part of the six set, and apparently they were drafted players. For example, Bentley was a player I originally had thought was a six set player, and at the beginning of the season we learned he was drafted. But my point was, I would have to research, but Josh could possibly be, if not the best, at least a top 2 or 3 draft pick of this season in the GM5, because he's spectacular. And there he goes to my point. He likes to take a lot of shots. He likes to go out there and score. That's the best part about his game. But he contributes in so many areas. He's a great playmaker. He knows when to slow it down. He knows when it's time to maybe this one I won't take. Let's move the ball around. You know, Melo's giving me that look. Pink is giving me that look. Let me make sure I settle down. You know what I mean? And that's the type of volume scoring you want to see, is somebody who can turn it on, turn it back off, and understand, okay, it's time to play good basketball. But hey, right now, let me go ahead and take my shot. It's my shot. Let me go for it. So Josh Fillmore, phenomenal basketball player, phenomenal impact, and has slowly become one of my favorites. I've always talked about Jose Melendez, which I'm gonna rave about soon here too. But Josh is definitely in my top 3 just favorite GM5 players this season. I love how he plays. I love his impact.
Sure.
And I wanted to make sure he got a shout out because he deserved it. I think he was the catalyst of this win for OTB.
Hey, full glaze. Yeah. Full glaze, 100% glaze. He's top 3 of my favorite players to watch. Full glaze. I mean,
I was just saying, I think one of my favorite things, because we get a little bit more of like kind of like courtside seats, right? He's a really good teammate too. Like he's a really, really good teammate.
He's always bullying Keith. I've never heard him not bully Keith.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to bully your big guy. But regardless, like he's a really good teammate. He's always uplifting somebody. He's always just in someone's ear, just talking really good. Or like even the players that come in there for one game, he'll like, hey, this is what we do. This is da da da. Like he takes his time and stuff like that. I just wanted to shout that out too. Like he's pretty dope as a person as well. And he's a great fit. He's what Rod was for this team, a spark plug. So that's exactly what he is right now. He just goes out there and shoots and creates his own offense like Rod did, which was like a perfect insertion.
I wouldn't really consider Rod a spark plug. Seems like
he's
a go-to scorer. I don't know if I look at it that way.
He's the plug for the offense for the team. He's 100% the offense.
Either way, they both do the same thing. They get the basket, the ball in the basket. They're scorers by nature. That's
There
all
you
I guess
go.
I would
There you
say.
go. There you go.
I
I
think
can take that one.
you and us have a different definition of what a spark plug is on a team. I think that's what it is. But
Rod is like the franchise. That's the type of player he is.
This
right.
year, this
Um,
year.
but speaking of Rod, he's our next. His team is on our next segment here. We have NWO versus Vipers. Game of the week did not disappoint. Very exciting game from beginning to end. Close throughout. No real big leads ever captured at any point. I think when
Oh
I
yeah, there
watched
was
it,
big leads. There was
I,
big leads. Vipers were up like 13 at one point.
I did
Yeah.
not see that. 13. I never noticed 13.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it. I never noticed 13 points deficit. I think the most I ever noticed was like a 7 or 9 at best. But I guess it must have escaped me at some point. But either way, it was close for the majority of that game, I would say. And I still don't think 13 is like a crazy lead anyway. I think as a basketball player, you definitely are comfortable being down 13. But it was an exciting game. I just finished watching it just a couple hours before we started potting, and it kept me locked in. I liked a lot of what I saw from the Vipers. I liked the Willie addition. I think he was their second leading scorer, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Flex for finishing up those stats in time for the pod. But Jose, man, that's what I wanted to mention earlier. Jose had himself a game. He showed up in the big moment against the best team. He had himself one hell of a day. He shot. Let me see. He shot.
Wait, it's wrong. He shot 11 for 17. So look at the stats in the text.
That's interesting. But either way, he still had 29 points. He shot phenomenally. He did a great job. I saw him had a lot of great moments throughout that game. Hit a lot of clutch shots. Unfortunately, he also had my least favorite moment in the game, which I believe was the catalyst moment that lost him the game. And it was him dribbling at the top of the three-point line on the wing, getting double teamed, and choosing to do a behind the back to split the defense. That turned the ball over, leading to a fast break, which now made NWO have a lead. At that point in the game, they were far more comfortable with. At that point, either Vipers were up 1 or down 1. But whatever happened, I think those 2 points that Jose just should not have allowed to happen caused an issue. I want to encourage everybody who's watching this to go back and watch the film as well, because I also believe they botched it at the last possession as well. I want everybody to go back and watch at the 2.1 second mark. It was the last possession of the game. Vipers were down, I believe, I want to say 2 at that point, if I'm not mistaken. They're scrambling to try and get the ball as far or as close to the basket as possible, right? Because there's only 2.1 seconds left. If you slow down the tape, if you put it in slow motion, you can very clearly see. I'm going to see if I can probably clip it and add it to the video. You can clearly see Willie found a great opening on that sprint to the basket where AJ or Rod, I believe, were the 2 closest defenders, fell behind him. So a outlet pass to him could have potentially led to him comfortably getting into a shot and attempting it. Whether or not he was going to make it is a whole different realm, right? I can't predict the future or predict an alternate universe, but they got the pass to the other side of the court where there was enough defenders to lock in and steal that. And I just felt like Vipers disappointed me at that point. It's like you, in crunch time and scramble mode, you had 2 bad decisions within less than a minute left in the game, a game that you can win, to make the statement of the season, and you let it go off of just one play that was just bad. I'm sorry, Zay. I've said it. You're my favorite player in the league, but it was just a bad play. There was no need to do that. You were trying to do too much. You were trying to get that highlight, not the win. And I didn't like it. And then the lack of court vision to not see Willie would have been available for an easy attempt at the win, if not tying up the game. So I was disappointed in the Vipers. They lost that game by 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 81-78. You guys were there live. What did you guys see? What do you guys think?
So that game started off really well. Sorry, my bad. The game started off really well. Zay, like you mentioned, was kind of in control of the entire offense, but it wasn't just him. Willie had some amazing shots, but not only that, some amazing passes earlier that kind of brought like Tyrell, kind of brought Liam into the offense a lot more. Gio was cooking as well. But there was a point where I think in the third quarter, if I remember, or early in the fourth, where they kind of started crumbling. And I recognize this over the last two times we watched the Vipers play. Once things start going bad, they just break mentally and they start arguing with each other. And it's not the entire team. The team knows who I'm referring to when I'm talking about it, but it breaks the morale almost every time. I'm not going to call it their business. That's them to recognize. But it happens almost every time you guys start losing, and it's such a detriment to that team. I think because you guys had NWO in the bag. I have never seen a team play NWO like that. In transition, they could not even keep up with you guys. On the perimeter, Vipers were hitting shots that I've never seen NWO have to defend. And even inside, they couldn't really make anything work offensively for NWO. They couldn't attack the basket. It wasn't really working. But like I mentioned, in that third or fourth quarter, something just snapped, and AJ was posting up Liam now. He was looking to attack him on every single offensive possession. Liam had 5 fouls, so I maybe he was trying to foul him out. But like the communication just disappeared. The team, composition just went away completely. And it was really disappointing to see. I don't know what it was. I think, bringing Ant out late in the third quarter when NWO was starting to go on the run, I don't think that was a good idea. I think maybe that's where you can kind of look at to make some changes. But I don't know. There has to be some stronger mental fortitude when somebody makes a mistake where you guys are not just looking to attack him and looking to say, like, oh, you need to do this better. Like, this is a coaching opportunity. This is something that you guys can work on together. Where I think that's where NWO kind of succeeded. NWO was down for majority of this game. They were playing behind, but they were still playing NWO's brand of basketball. Shots weren't falling. That's going to happen. Especially Rod. Rod is a pure shooter, so he's primarily going to look to shoot. So if he's having an off night, he's having an off night. And that's what happened. At the beginning, people started recognizing that he's having an off night somewhere in the second, third quarter. AJ started handling the ball a lot more, and he started looking for his drives. CJ had a fucking fantastic game. His stats aren't right either, but CJ, I'm almost certain CJ only missed 5 shots that night.
Yeah.
So they just held it. They were a lot more composed. Alex Sanchez is a pro to me, realistically. His attacks on the rim, him driving, him creating the double teams opened up other people to score, or it opened up foul opportunities at least. And I think that's where they succeeded. Tommy came in towards the end of the game, and Tommy didn't do much, but by that point, like the game was already in NWO's favor when he got there, and he was able to cement it further because Tommy's a really good defender. Tommy is someone that you can actually put on Zay. Tommy, he's not going to lock him up, but he put that pressure on him, and I think that's when things kind of started to change. The Vipers are they're not like Park Legends, but they remind me of Park Legends at times. And I think that's where they need to change. Like, once you have a lead and you start losing it, you can't break. That can't happen. I don't want to see that because you're such a good team overall.
Yeah, I feel like getting on someone on the little things when you're up 15 points is a hell of a way to, like, destroy a team's confidence and that player's confidence. Because I know who you're talking about, and I know the situation you're talking about because the player barely played after that. And he's a really good player, the one who messed up. Like, I think he changes everything. When you put him at the center position, he plays like a guard. And I just feel like at certain times, you can't beat your teammate up. It's an old thing. It's me, you, and the problem. And right now, the problem's making its way back over here. So it can't be me, you, and the problem as something I got to figure out. Like, you guys, it's got to be us against the problem. And that's just, like, basic, like, relationship shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just basic teammate shit. That's, like, 101 of YMCA. It's just uplifting your teammate. Talking down on people doesn't really help, ever. In any type of sports, life, kids, your wife, anybody. It just doesn't help with the camaraderie. But I think the Vipers are still a good-looking team.
Yeah.
With all
Oh
that
God,
being said,
they're
they
my
are
favorite team.
really, really good. And Willie being back, Willie, I mean, no offense to OTB, but Willie really likes being with his friends playing basketball. Like I said 5 weeks ago, he enjoys it more. He's way more competitive with them. I'm not saying he wasn't competitive with OTB, but he does look like he's more comfortable with voicing his opinions, like what he sees on the court. And I've learned this week, Willie's actually pretty a smart basketball player. He's not dumb. He knows what he's doing. He knows what's wrong on the court. He pointed a couple things
Did you
out
think he was done
to
before?
keep the Vipers in the game. Huh?
Yeah. What the hell? What the hell?
What happened?
Did you
You
think
think
he
he's
was
done?
done before?
No, like I think he's above that, like enough to
Okay.
like where I'm gonna shout out how smart he looked.
Okay.
No,
Well, you
no. I don't
worded
think.
it.
Yo, hold on. I want no problems, Billy. Your demeanor is right up there with Phil's. I'm cool, but just want just want to say though, like that team, if they can figure it out, like Tyler says, they or like Nas has said all season, you guys can really be a force to be reckoned with, especially with the size now that you have now to match up with other teams with Willie and Liam and you got Anthony Rice. I think you guys did a good job with that trade. But
And Rice, one of my favorite players
NWO.
always.
Yeah, NWO is still NWO, and they're gonna get it done, and they got it done again. So we got to start giving them props. And this is without Bulb and half a game without Tommy. They're starting point guard and shooting guard, or well, starting point guard and 6 man of the year.
Shout out
To
to
be
Tommy
fair.
though for
And
coming in and
Vipers were missing.
making a big impact there. That's one thing that I noticed. He didn't play the whole game because of his the dilemma, as we've talked about before. Make sure you go tap into that video, hear more about that. But he came in and he was an immediate impact. He hit a clutch bucket there at the end of the game as well, which made a big difference. And he was a part of that. What do you want to call it? Blitz defense that was really disturbing the Vipers in that second half, especially in that fourth quarter. So shout out to Tommy, man, for coming in after his half a game suspension and still showing up for his team, still impacting the game.
But I was gonna say, to be fair, what you said about Bulb missing and Tommy, they were also missing Zoldo and Greg. And I'm pretty sure Roe has had his ankle completely removed at this point. I don't even think it's on his
I
body
don't think
anymore.
Ro's coming back, bro.
Yeah, he's ankleless. He's like Nas.
Man,
Oh God. They might add Chris Toro though. He's a good player. I don't remember if he played last year. I think he did. Yeah, he was on UGK last year, wasn't he? Or whatever team that may have been. But either way, I agree. I think the Vipers are still a good-looking team. And I did really have them against NWO. I really did. I honestly believe they could win that game. And for the majority of that game, they looked like they could. I think they just made bad decisions. The game got close. It's a game of runs. NWO had the final run, but I detailed it in the beginning. And I don't believe Vipers should have lost that game. They had it in the bag. I think that play alone was the catalyst. So they have one big game left. No offense to the rest of their schedule. I apologize. I'm just calling it how it is. They're going to play OTB again, which is cool because it'll be a rematch from their previous matchup. So we'll see how that goes. I think from this record, Lions, City Ballers, OTB, Prey. If I had to call it, they're finishing the season 3-1. You know what I mean? And with a real opportunity to finish 4-0. So that's going to be big time for them. And we'll see how that goes. Because if they finish 4-0 and they beat OTB, that's going to be an interesting power ranking conversation. It's going to be very interesting.
I'm gonna make a
Speaking
bet
of-
right now, so Mello can comment on our video because I love the engagement. Vipers 4-0.
Oh, there you go. I see it. I can see it. I'm getting on that. Vipers 4-0. I agree. But speaking of power rankings, that's going to be on our list for today. Oops, I apologize. We got our power rankings. We did our power rankings, I believe, week 6. I want to say something like that. So it's been a few weeks. Teams have shown us new things. Not much though. I'll have to say, not much. I don't think my list has changed drastically. There's a couple changes there, but let's run through it, ladies and gentlemen. The Hoop Talk podcast power rankings. All three of us are going to have our own opinions of where every single team is going to land. But I do anticipate it'll be similar to our last discussion, where it will most
I
likely
have
be
two
very
changes
similar.
already.
I can
I'll tell you
only
right now.
I can only remember one, but as we go through it, we'll see. I might have another one. Um, but let's go through it. Nine teams being ranked against each other. Starting with our number 9 slot, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler, why don't you start off? Who is that your number 9 slot for the power ranking?
You know, Dream Chasers have not won anything so far, so unfortunately for number 9, I'm gonna have to do mid-season unrestricted free agents.
I am.
I'm joking. It's Dream Chasers.
I'm going with the Dream Chasers as well. I mean, I don't think this is up for debate.
Finally
Ditto.
undefeated.
Ditto. Unanimous decision, ladies and gentlemen. So let's move on to slot number 8. I believe will be another unanimous decision here. I have the Lions. Lions coming off of a bye week, did not have to go up against anybody this week. But I have the Lions at number 8, and I think it's pretty obvious why. What do you guys think?
I have Lions as well. And if I saw what I read correctly, and they're gonna have Trent for the next couple of weeks, that team is built the way I want it to be built now. They're gonna be going up, I would bet. But you need some sort of data to put you guys higher. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I got Lions as well.
I agree 100%. Unanimous there at number 8. Number 7 now. Pluto, why don't you start us off at number 7? Who is your 7th best team in the GM5?
Give me 1 second, because I will go with our City Ballers.
What?
City Ballers.
All right. Well, we have our first.
You missing a team?
We have our first open
Hold on.
debate of the day.
Nope. I lied. Park Legends. They're on a 3-game losing streak.
That is worse.
Sorry.
That is
Missing a
worse.
team.
What?
That is worse.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Nas. Your turn.
I have at number 7
He's sticking with that.
the obvious choice, Prey. I think.
I also have Prey. Where do you have Prey?
I didn't have on my list.
Oh.
That's the problem. Yeah, it would obviously be Prey, because I'm looking at my little phone thing, and then I'm looking. Yeah, I didn't have Prey. My bad. Yeah, it would be Prey.
Prey. All right. I think the next one is where it can get questionable. I was very torn in this one, and I wanted to do this both ways. You know, me and Tyler have disagreed on power rankings and how they should or have been done. I wanted to incorporate both ideologies here. And I want to go first here because I'm going to say, despite what records may show, ladies and gentlemen, as my 6th best team, I've decided I'm going to go with Park Legends.
I'm with you on that.
Well, and I went the standard power ranking thing. Park Legends have lost 3 in a row. City Ballers have won 2 in a row. So the most recent history, City Ballers looks like a better team right now.
I'll go with that as well.
I agree 100%. I looked at it from a perspective of that as well. I thought of that, and then I'm looking at it from a trend perspective. What team is now looking like a trend is going to be better, right? And you would have to assume, I'm not saying, when we get to our predictions for next week, I'm not saying this is what my prediction is going to be, but I'm just saying it looks like City Ballers has a higher chance of winning their next game than Park Legends do. I'm just putting that out there. Now, we'll see who they face, and we'll give our predictions later. But I'm sorry, TP. I got City Ballers over you. Tyler, who's your number 5 slot?
Well, number 5, I've City Ballers. I think that they made a lot of great additions, and I think we're starting to see that come to fruition. I just want to see more.
Agreed.
I got City Ball. I mean, this is gonna be a hard list. I got City Ballers. I do want to say something. I do feel bad for leaving Prey out. But something clicked earlier, and I kind of made an adjustment. Tyler mentioned the 3-game losing streak, and I play 2K, and whenever I lose 3 games in a row on 2K MGM mode, I go from 1 to 3, even if I have a better record than the other teams. So yeah, I get where you guys are going with this trend, because that model kind of mimics the NBA one to the T. So yeah, I get what you guys are saying, and I did have Park Legends over City Ballers, but then when you guys said what you said earlier in the pod, it clicked that it's just not a good trend for Park Legends moving forward, and then their record and who they got to play as well.
I think if the league was bigger, there's a possibility, my opinion, could slightly be altered because, in the grand scheme of things, maybe, just maybe, Park Legends wouldn't look as bad. And I apologize for wording it that way.
Mhm.
But with only 9 teams available, you have to really compress your thought process to such a small
Yep.
group. And it's like when you're comparing
Yep.
yourself to such a small group, it's like at the end of the day, yeah, your record looks better. That is correct, but only by 1 game. And if that's the case, you know what I mean, 3 game losing streak, that's bad. You know what I mean? That's pretty bad. And they lost to what? End up Vipers. They just lost to Count Up, and what was the other one? Was it OTB? Yeah, OTB. Right.
Yep.
So like, in all fairness, one of those games is winnable. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not even gonna say who. F it. One of those games is winnable. That's all I'm saying. So, we can move on. Pluto, why don't you hit us with your number 4 slot here?
I mean,
What happened?
it's gonna be Count Up. It's easy. I don't think that's hard. Yeah,
I agree.
Count Up.
I agree. I am also in agreement. That's another unanimous sweep, I believe. For the most part, we've been on the same page. I think we're going to be for the rest of this list. I don't remember who I had 2 and 3, but I think it should be the same order as I have them now. Because in my number 3 slot, the team of my favorite player in the GM5 right now, I have the Vipers at number 3, and I'd say it's just I think I had them at 3 last time too, I believe. But losing their most recent game, it solidified the fact that you just have to stay there. Now let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a alternate reality timeline. If Vipers win that game, they're in my number 1 slot. I'm putting them number 1. If Vipers win that game, I'm putting them number 1. I'm telling you right now.
To me, they are. For power ranking, if they secured that, they're number 1, and NWO second, OTB third.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
It didn't happen that way.
Yeah,
so I have Vipers third, unfortunately, and I don't want to, but I gotta be realistic. Vipers is my favorite team, though.
Phenomenal team. Did you say Vipers as well?
Yes, sir.
And then at number 2, Tyler, I'm sure you won't have a surprise for anybody, but feel free to say it anyway.
They be putting people on the bench all the time. All the time. Mercy ruling, beating people up. I got OTB.
I also got OTB.
OTB.
And then last but not least, the only team left, ladies and gentlemen, is the T, who is on an 8-game win streak. They've played 8 games. They've only been available for 8 weeks. They're undefeated, if you didn't catch my drift. New West Orlando, ladies and gentlemen, 8-0. As Berger would say, undefeated champs loading, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see how that goes for them, man. Crossing my fingers, I would love to see that happen in the GM5 for sure. Listen, even Squad X wasn't able to do that. They lost a couple of games that season. I think 3, if I'm not mistaken. But that's it for the power rankings. I think we were all on the same page. No crazy takes there. I think this season in the GM5, there haven't been any crazy takes on the Hooptalk podcast. I'm very surprised. Very, very surprised. And shout out to us for making that happen.
Look at your answers, bro. You don't have to adjust to any of our answers.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
I mean, we see it together, so it's like, and we see everything happening together. So it's not like the NBA where we can have different interpretations because we can interpret a narrator differently. But like, we literally see it together, so it's hard for us to have indifference when we're kind of like, yeah, we all saw that, right? Okay. Like, it's not hard to like. We're on the same page. It's just now the collective, like DP says, the commission.
Hey, we're the committee.
The committee. My bad. The committee.
Shout out Rodney Stuckey. The new addition to OTB. What the?
I knew his name was
bro?
Stuckey. I just didn't know
Stuckey
his first
Mosley.
name. My bad, Stuckey.
What the?
Mosley. It was Stuckey something.
But that's Rodney Stuckey's last name.
Right. That was crazy. Listen, I was watching that. I was like, who the fuck? Did he just say Rodney Stuckey? Where are we?
I
What the
told him,
heck?
and I don't know if you keep hearing it. You hear Tyler correct me. You're like, I was like Mosley Stuckey. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
keep
I'm
saying
corrected. Mosley Stuckey.
no, but I would say
Other way around.
Stuckey most.
Other way around.
Oh,
Stuckey
Stuckey
Mosley.
My bad.
Oh my goodness,
This
ladies and
man's in
gentlemen.
Paris, bro.
It's gonna be
All
a
right, let's-
slang. You're not in GM5 until Orlando knows your name. That's gonna be the slang moving forward.
Or age.
That's crazy.
That's CP's doing.
But yeah, I mean that's it. That's our power rankings for up to week 9. I think we'll probably save our last power ranking for the end of the season. Maybe is that reasonable? I'd say, right?
Playoffs, maybe.
No, I think we should do week 11, and then don't do one to end it. Let people kind of solidify their own power rankings at the end.
Yeah.
Give them a reason to come out on week 12 and win.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's possible. I'm not,
Exhilarating.
Maybe we could talk about it off camera. All right, so next thing we got are some award races, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about it slightly a few podcasts ago. But we're going to get back into the conversation and see exactly who do we think should take home the biggest awards. The GM5, they do multiple things. They do 6th Man of the Year, but I think that one requires a little bit more calculating and in-depth research there. So I don't think we're going to talk about that much. We're going to talk about the main 2 awards, I'd say, and that's Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. And I was torn in my Defensive Player of the Year, but I have multiple reasons why I want to go with this guy. I want you guys to go first. Whoever wants to take the floor. Who is your candidate, your leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year? If you have a top 2, top 3, feel free to mention them, give them a shout out. But who's the leading candidate?
Oh,
I have a top 3. I'll go ahead.
I got just one. I'll go real quick with defense. I guess we'll start with that. I got both. I don't see anybody else in this league who does what he does. He only cares about defense. Like, literally, watch the film. He's trying to get a steal. He's trying to get a deflection. I got both for Defensive Player of the Year.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling up. I didn't have this. But I can tell you right now, for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm kind of torn on who I would actually pick for like the actual winner. So I have a top 3. I have Bulb, who is right now leading at number 1 for me. But I also have Melo, because Melo, I really want you to go back and pay attention to when people play Melo. They have been having off nights the same way that they've been having Bulb. And then 2, kind of mentions that I'm torn on. Keith should absolutely be in the running, and I promise you he doesn't put the effort in. But I want you to watch how people play him at the rim. They don't go up normally. He alters shots very often in a way where it's not showing up in blocks, but it's showing up in lesser field goals. But also Kel. Kel is my dark horse. Unfortunately, I think you have to win a few more games for me to really put you up there, but I don't know, man. I have a lot of reason where I would put you up there, I could say, right now.
For sure. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I think Bulb is a good choice. I think I put Bulb in my honorable mention, or not honorable mention, but my runner-up is what I'd say. And I would have as my leading candidate Keith Clanton. I do believe Keith Clanton deserves recognition for the impact that he has in the interior, for his ability to just consume rebounds at that level. People. A lot of people don't value the impact of rebounds when it comes to the defensive category. And that's been a problem in the fan base of basketball for a long time now. But, people, it is called a defensive rebound for a reason. I'm just putting that out there. You know what I mean? There's a
possession.
Yeah, there's a logic behind that. And one thing that people don't value enough is, at the end of the day, a stop does not count as a stop until a rebound is secured. If they get an offensive board, that is another possession for them. You know what I mean? There was never a stop that happened there. They just missed a shot and then took another one. So I value rebounding highly. He is one of the leading players in blocks per game. Slow season for blocks per game this year in the GM5. Not too many high numbers there, but Keith is in the top 3 list there. And I mean, the big man to me is the most impactful defender on the court. Let me rephrase that. A good defensive big man is the most impactful defender on the court all the time, right? So I think Keith, yeah, he's not some high flyer swatting things into the stands or switching on to guards. He's not a Dwight Howard or anything like that. But I do believe, like Tyler said, you have to pay attention to how he impacts the game defensively. Somebody like Liam, for example, had a very bad game against him. A player who was a very good player, a very good center in this league. So that's my leading candidate, and I have Bulb as my close second. And I don't disagree with that take at all. If Bulb were to take it home, or even Melo, I think that was a good mention as well. I think those are great options as well.
Keith has 16 rebounds a game, to give you an idea. 16.
That's ending possessions.
16 possessions he's ending with a rebound. And then on top of that, he also has 8.2 assists a game. He's leading the league in assists as well.
Nas, you actually taught me about the defensive rebound and how important it is for the award, because defensive rebounds and possessions. And I didn't know that. I didn't look at it like that before. I thought it would just be steals and blocks, but that is an important, stat. You got to end the possession. So
I got you. I'm gonna take you under my wing, little bro. I got you. Because I convinced Nas. He's not gonna tell you, but telepathically.
Did you?
Telepathically.
All right. Did you now? I mean, yeah. I mean, a little side note just for this hell of it. It's one of the major reasons why Rudy Gobert is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. People are gonna make fun of him. People are gonna joke, and I get it. He's memeable, very easy to make fun of. But when you really dissect the game and understand how players like him impact the game at such a high level defensively, that's when your understanding of the game really reaches a new pinnacle, in my personal opinion. It's when you can really sit down and say, yeah, Rudy Gobert is funny, misses layups, has no post game, can't score for shit. Yeah, he gets postered. Yeah, he does this. Yeah, he does that. Memeable and fun to talk about. But if you can't convince yourself that Rudy Gobert is a phenomenal defensive impact and one of the greatest defensive impactors of our generation, then you're just a closed-minded basketball fan. That's my take on it.
He's talking. People don't understand, but he's talking directly to Pluto.
No, I'm not.
Pluto doesn't think Rudy Gobert. No. Remember, we go back and watch our other podcast. Pluto does not think that Rudy Gobert is a good defensive center.
Oh, I don't remember that. I believe it.
Not on switches. I think he's not good on switches.
That's not the only thing that you said. I'm gonna pull it back up. I'm gonna pull it back.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was NBA takes. I'm a wild out every time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know it. You know it.
I'm gonna give you a crazy ass NBA take.
That was a small side note there. And then we got the big fish, the MVP, the most valuable player. I think there's many ways you can look at this, but let's see what our thoughts are individually and what we think. Tyler, you want to start off with this one? Who is your leading candidate for MVP, or your top 3 if you want?
Yeah. My top 3 so far, my ladder starts off with Zay. I think he's been there for 5 games. I think that's enough of a cutout for 8 weeks. He's missed 3. Sure. He controls the game at a level that we don't see very often outside of my next 2, which next I have AJ, who will, numbers-wise, his points are down, but he's also sharing the ball with Rod. He's also sharing the ball with Tommy. CJ is also uptaking his scoring as well. So we have to keep that in mind. But defensively, he's still that guy that he was before. And then lastly, Keith. Bro, 14, 16, and 8. He is completely changing the way that teams had to play in the paint. And, I'm going to say it, he looks like he's just playing, the laziest version of basketball he could play. If this is what Keith normally plays basketball, that's just crazy. But I have a feeling he can play a little bit harder, and it's going to look a lot worse for other teams. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. I mean, it was Zay, and then you rattled off a bunch of stats from Keith. So originally I did have Zay. I thought it's impressive. The only reason, actually, I'm gonna stand on that. I still have Zay. And the reason I have Zay is mostly because he leads. He technically leads the league in scoring. I know they have Trim with the one game with 29 points, but that's not enough
Shout
for
out
me to
Trent.
give you that. But yeah, I gotta go LZ. 23.2 points. Um, he is also averaging at least almost 33 pointers a game. He's averaging 6.2 rebounds, 3.6 assists. He's averaging at least 3.4 steals, almost a
God
block as
damn.
well.
Is that,
Um,
oh my god.
yeah, so like when I'm looking at those stats, man, you mean I close my eyes and Keith looks good though. Keith looks good. Keith looks really good, and we all know he's not trying, but Jose's trying. And effort matters in this league, okay? So, but regardless, I mean, you could go either way. But I'm going with Zay. I think it's more impressive. I think the degree of what he's doing it on. Also, I think the collective. He doesn't have a Ramel, a Bates. He doesn't have a Fillmore. I mean, he does have Zuldo. He does have pieces, but the pieces aren't. I think the pieces look a little better on OTB, I would say, than they do on the Vipers. Um,
My fourth
even
would be Melo for MVP, realistically.
yeah, but yeah, I gotta go Zay. This shit's crazy. It's just like a Michael Jordan stat line for me.
Yeah, I think Zay is one of my favorites. I think I'm torn in looking at it two different ways. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to that MVP award, and I'm always gonna go for the best player on the best team in most circumstances, if that player is having an MVP caliber season. That's always the caveat that I like to emphasize. It's the best player on the best team if that player is MVP caliber, right? When you look at somebody like Donovan Mitchell, for example, who the Cavs had a phenomenal season last year in the regular season, but was Donovan Mitchell MVP caliber, or were the Cavs just phenomenal altogether? You know what I mean? And I think it, it's the argument that you can make for players like Rod and AJ. Yeah, they are having phenomenal seasons for the most part, but is the team winning because you're phenomenal, or is the team winning because as a group you guys just get the shit done together? You know what I mean? Like there's so many pieces available to impact the game in a winning way. We just talked about Bo being potential for defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? So, AJ is what I wanted to lean towards. I know you guys, we had some differentiating opinions on who's the best player on NWO. I don't want to get into that now, but that's who I consider to be the best player on NWO. So he was there, but I'm with Pluto on this. I forget who Tyler said, but Zay to me is my leading candidate
Zay.
as well. For the same reasons you just rambled off. I won't repeat it. I mean, stats are great. Unfortunately, the Vipers have lost against the two best teams in the league, but they're 6-2 at the end of the day. They're 6-2 with the real opportunity to finish the season 10-2. With a real opportunity. Me and Tyler talked about it a second ago. So Zay is my favorite player, and this isn't a biased decision. I think when you look at it, I think he is the best player in GM5 this season.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if as long as you have a top 3 seed, to me, you could be an MVP candidate as long as you have an MVP season. And the 3 people I picked in my ladder so far are on the top 3 teams in the league, and they all to me are having a MVP season just for different reasons. But Zay stands out a little bit more for me right now. Now.
Sure.
And
Also, I'm a Vipers fan. I'm a Vipers homer. So that's kind of the reality.
Yeah, and then you have to consider Zay wasn't there versus OTB, right? And that's a big factor. That's a gigantic factor. And then when you look at the big moment when it's time to play against the best team, Zay didn't crumble. Zay showed up and he put in his best fucking effort to try and win that game. I talked about the decision making he had at the end of the fourth quarter. That shit happens. That's not going to take you off my MVP ladder just because of a play that you could have handled differently. You know what I mean? But Zay shows up, and I mean, I'd love somebody to get on the podcast and debate with me that Zay's not the best player in the GM5 right now. I'd love for somebody to get on the podcast and tell me that.
Or at minimum, top 3. At minimum.
At minimum.
I'm gonna say he's my favorite and the best, but I'll accept top 3.
I'll accept top 2. I don't think there's.
But he's not 2.
No, I'll accept 2 at best, and you're gonna have to convince me of who that number 1 is. But phenomenal playing by Zay this season, man. But that's gonna be the last award race we want to talk about there. So let us know in the comment section, who do you believe is the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player? Let us know. We got week 10 coming up. We're finally in the double digits for GM5. So we're gonna finally be in the double digits for our podcast. And we're going to have the Lions returning after a bye week. Lions versus Vipers is going to be game 1 of week 10. Is it safe to say this is a unanimous Vipers? Should we just move on?
I have a hard time betting against the Vipers, so anytime you see them, I'm probably going to pick them.
I got Vipers.
Yeah, I think the Lions waited too long to finally make the changes to the roster that were necessary. I think that's a big issue. They don't have the time to gel together and to really take advantage of a player like Trent. But a player like Trent is exactly what we asked you to get from the beginning. You know what I mean? A go-to scorer that is difficult to stop. And I'm excited to see how he does against a good team. He is a downhill freight train type of guy, and the Vipers are a fast transition team. So we'll see how well is he going to get those opportunities in the fast break. Game number 2 is going to be New West Orlando versus Count Up. Who do you got, Pluto? This is your team. Who you got?
Man, it sucks because I love them both. They're both my guys. But, I mean, I would never go and, I'm just going to make this easy, NWO. I was going to go into a whole soliloquy. But NWO.
They didn't even give you a jersey. I can't believe that.
What Berg said, my jersey will never have been worn. Your jersey have been worn by 7 beep people, okay?
I prefer that. I wish they signed it too. I haven't watched it. Hell yeah.
Oh, God. Who you got, Tyler?
NWO. But this could be a trap game for NWO because I do think Count Up have the size to kind of play them better, especially with Jalen. But I can't keep betting against NWO. That's crazy.
I do think this might be the game of the week, though. Has a lot of game of the week written on it. I will say that.
I think this is a trap game for Count Up because they're going to be trapped into a guaranteed L. I got NWO here. Game 3 is On the Bench versus Dream Chasers, ladies and gentlemen. More of the same. Can we just say unanimous On the Bench and move on to the next one?
Dream Chasers is going to be chasing dreams on the bench after a mercy.
Oh, God.
Dreams and nightmares.
And listen, we have insider information that a certain player won't be in attendance this weekend because a certain other team will be playing this weekend. Find out.
And we'll be there for both.
Yes, we will. But this certain player will
he
not.
Won't.
Yeah, he won't.
I won't be there for that game.
That is unanimous On the Bench, ladies and gentlemen. And the last game of the week is going to be Park Legends versus Prey. The rematch from the week 1 matchup, which Park Legends took by 1 point in crunch time. Did they?
No, Prey won.
Prey took that by 1 point in crunch time. Prey desperately needs a win. Park Legends is on a losing streak. I'm gonna go on a limb and say Prey's taking this home.
Actually, Park Legends won.
That's what I remembered. Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm going with Park Legends. I think this is a good spot for them to kind of get a win. It's gonna be a tough one, but they need a dub. So I'm going Park Legends. I think they're hungry.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this: if Park Legends comes out in a 2-3 zone, they will win. If not, I think Prey takes this.
Damn.
I'm gonna go Prey because I don't think that they're gonna stick to the zone.
Damn. Yeah. I got Prey. And then City Ballers has a bye week, ladies and gentlemen. They will not be in attendance, so plenty of time to talk it over and figure out what they got to do to come out with another win. They're on a 2-game win streak, so we'll see what happens to them week 11. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we got for GM5. It's the most popping thing in Central Florida right now when it comes to basketball, man. So make sure you tap in with them. We post the games every weekend. Come watch them live, man. It's some exciting basketball. So go watch them live. GM5 at Crooms Academy every Saturday for the majority of the rest of the year. Every Saturday, because we got playoffs coming up at 10 a.m. all the way up to 2 p.m. All right, so you can catch all the games, catch the middle games, the last games, whatever you want, man. Just stop by. It's worth it. But that's all we got. Hit that subscribe button. Show us some love. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff, man. Hoop Talk podcast out. Deuces.